Hawthorne Bank in Liberty is a proud supporter of the Liberty School District. At Hawthorne Bank, we understand the importance of a strong community and a strong school district. We also understand the importance of a strong financial future for our school district's families and for our local businesses.
I'm Melissa Hubble.
I'm Mariah Timbers.
I'm Lynn McClure.
I'm Nick Richmond, and Hawthorne Bank is proud to support KLPS and the Liberty Public School District.
Hawthorne Bank, with you every step. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome to our press conference for Lady Jays basketball, January 12th, 2017. It's been a really good start to the season. We have a very young team, an inexperienced team, but one that's starting to kind of figure some things out along the way. We over break we went to St. Louis and won a tournament championship at Rockwood Summit High School. Played some really good competition and played really well on the road. Coming back, we've won against Lee Summit, so we had four games in a row where we won there. And then the last two games, we lost by 2 in overtime and then by 6 to St. Thomas Aquinas out of Kansas. So I'll open it up for any questions that you guys may have.
After 2 close losses, what's the mindset and how are you refocusing the players coming into this next game?
I think one of the biggest things about this next game is it's a conference opponent. We have won back-to-back conference titles, so we know the importance of playing well in conference. Plus, we know that it really will propel us into, district play if we can get some good wins in conference. So that's the first thing, is playing on the motivation of we have something to defend. The second thing is we're really, really close in these games, and while it's not any fun to lose because we don't like losing, we're learning a lot. And I think that those experiences with our younger kids and our inexperience, getting these experiences right now is going to be great for the end of February and March when we get into district play.
Like how you said you have younger kids starting and you have a good group of seniors, How do they all work together to come together as a team?
I think a lot of it just has to do with kind of the fun that they have on and off the court. We do start a freshman. We do have another freshman that comes off the bench. We have a sophomore that comes off the bench. We have a few juniors that either start or come off the bench, but their varsity experience is limited basically to this year, so 12 games so far. And I think it's just all of them realizing that they're in it together and are kind of going through the same things, but also having 2 seniors, Cale Newland and Mackenzie Hold, that have started for the last, year and a half, 2 years, and they have the ability to kind of bring those kids along. So it's been really fun to watch those kids interact and kind of help each other out through some of the tough times.
You mentioned your team has learned a lot of lessons from their losses. Can you give some examples of how that's helped your team in the past?
Yeah, I think especially early season, playing the tough schedule that we did against Olathe South, against Staley, against Lee Summit North, against Aquinas. 5 years ago when we played those games, we lost, but didn't learn a lot, and we would lose again. I think with this team, what we're seeing is we may lose a close game here or there, but then we can go to a tournament and win 51-50 in overtime against a good team out of Illinois. So I think what we're seeing is sometimes we're losing, but we're understanding in those close losses, the things we could have done differently, and that's helping us in some of those other close games.
Tell me a little bit more about how the upperclassmen are leading the team and affecting it.
Yeah, absolutely. We have Mackenzie Hull and Cale Newland that are our most experienced players in the program. Mackenzie has started since she was a sophomore. Cale started since she was a sophomore as well. Didn't play her freshman year due to an injury. I think their leadership on the floor is really good because they keep us calm and collected when things aren't going so well or when we start to get sped up. But I think also their leadership off the floor with a lot of our volunteer stuff and a lot of our giving back to the community and caring for other people, I think that's kind of been the biggest thing. We also have Shay Stigger and Allie Gordon that help really push into that. Allie spearheaded our Big Sis, Little Sis program within our program. We don't really advertise it outside of the program, but it's basically our older kids pairing up with our younger kids, and they might send some notes, of encouragement one day. They may, go out to the movies one day, just things where they can kind of connect and hang out. And it's really good because as a young player, there's a lot of pressure, especially when you have At times, somebody like me that's a little, I get a little excited and I can get, I can correct people loudly. So it's good for those kids to have somebody to turn to that has been there and been through it and understands that it's not that we don't like you, it's not that we're mad at you, it's that we have to quickly correct a situation, and sometimes that comes out. It sounds rude or it sounds too much, and I think it's just been good for those kids.
So you talked about experience and obviously leadership, teamwork, but what about just like a game plan? I know especially with Morgan Fleming, who was a senior last year, and her scary event where she injured herself and is off the team for now. What would you be your game plan if that were to happen during a game with your girls?
Yeah, I think anytime you're playing the game of basketball, we always have that risk for injury, and we've seen it a lot. We've seen it a lot recently. Sydney Ofield tore ACL earlier this year in a college game, and then Morgan broke her leg in a college game on Saturday. And we've had our own players. Kale broke her foot early in the fall. Allie Gordon broke her wrist, at a game scrimmage this year. The biggest thing is to continue to develop those other kids and those younger kids. The thing we talk to our kids about all the time is you never know when we're going to throw you into a game. I mean, you may have sat for 2 quarters and we pull you and throw you into a game because we see a situation that you could help us with. And so keeping those kids feeling comfortable and understanding that they have a job to do even when they're sitting on the bench, and that job is to be ready to go into the game.
Also going along with that, I know a lot of the girls, they have a game plan and they have stuff to do. What's your game plan? What do you want to achieve as a coach?
I think our biggest thing that we really look at is I want our kids to care about each other, and I want our kids to be better when they leave here than when they got here. And we already have great kids. We obviously spend a lot of time focusing on the X's and O's of basketball and looking at other teams and how we're going to game plan each game for that. But our bigger picture has nothing to do with wins and losses. I think the wins and losses have come to us. We've won a lot in the last 5 years. It's happening because our kids really care about what they're doing, and they care about putting on a jersey that says Liberty, and they care about singing the alma mater after a game. And they, 5 years ago, they didn't even know we had one. And I think that they see that now, and that's something that they really, really want to be a part of. And I know even when we post stuff on Twitter or Instagram, we'll have former players that are like, I really miss that part of it. And so I think that that's our game plan, and hopefully we're being successful at it, and we feel like we are.
So I know with the upcoming games and just how it's kind of scary, how does the student section and the pep band and everyone coming, how does that help the girls do in their games?
I think it's huge. Girls' games are the most under-attended games ever in every girls' sport. And it's too bad because there's great competition in girls' athletics, and I wish more people would come watch that. But when we play with the double headers like we have tomorrow night or we did last week, we get a large student section. I mean, prior to that, we had I think 20, max of 20 kids at one game, So when we have that large of a crowd, it's great, but it's also a little overwhelming for our kids because we're not used to playing in front of it. So I'm glad that we have the doubleheaders so we can get used to it, because we know when playoffs get here, that's how it's going to be every game. Having the pep band there is like one of my all-time favorites, and it always has been. I love the energy that it brings. I love the sound. It's better than the music that's being played over the speakers anyways. I think, and it adds again more people, and it's not only is the band there playing, so it adds them, but it adds their families and their parents because they came to watch them perform, and it gives our kids a chance to hear and see the band, which we don't normally get to see unless we go to, one of the 5 home football games. So I just think it's great when more people are involved and more people are there. All right. Well, that concludes our press conference for January 12th. Go Jays.
Hawthorne Bank in Liberty is a proud supporter of the Liberty School District. At Hawthorne Bank, we understand the importance of a strong community and a strong school district. We also understand the importance of a strong financial future for our school district's families and for our local businesses.
I'm Melissa Hubble.
I'm Mariah Timbers.
I'm Lynn McClure.
I'm Nick Richmond, and Hawthorne Bank is proud to support KLPS and the Liberty Public School District.
Hawthorne Bank, with you every step. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.